movements along, and shifts in the demand and supply curves, in microeconomics, are similar to those in short-run equilibrium, and shifts in the aggregate demand and aggregate supply curves, in macroeconomics. As a result, we do not discuss the ADAS model's short-run equilibrium here. We, however, concentrate on visual representations of long-run ADAS model equilibrium, as well as sticky wage periods, in the short run. By doing so, you will be visually able to examine the sequencing of the short and long-run movements in the ADAS model. We will now investigate the long-run equilibrium self-adjustment process in the ADAS model in the case of a decline in aggregate demand, applying monetarist and neoclassical economic perspectives. Figure 1 shows real GDP, designated as GDPR, on the horizontal line, and the general price level on the vertical line. Draw the aggregate demand curve, AD, the short-run aggregate supply curve, SRAS, and the vertical long-run aggregate supply curve, LRAS, with a potential level of output, YPT. The potential level of output, YPT, will meet an equilibrium price level of PLE, which is represented by point A. Assume that the country experiences an economic slowdown as a result of a reduction in net exports. If this occurs, the original aggregate demand curve shifts to the left, resulting in the formation of a new aggregate demand curve, AD1. It is pertinent to note that the general price level, including wages, salaries, input prices, and so on, does not drop instantaneously. It rather goes from point A to point B. The price movement in the short run is represented by the distance between A and B. As you can see, the price does not fall, but rather shifts from A to B, while preserving the prior level of price. This is due to the stickiness of wages and prices, which we have already discussed. This is known as Keynesian price stickiness in the short run. If the sluggish economic downturn continues, however, the general price level, particularly wages and salaries, begins to fall gradually, from B to C. At this point, the price moves along the aggregate demand curve. If there are still no signs of improvement in economic conditions, unfortunately, and a lack of job possibilities adversely threatens the lives of workers, wage and salary earners will willingly reduce their income. If this is the case, the initial short-run aggregate supply curve will begin to shift to the right again, signaling the start of the long run. From point C to point D, the general price level will fall. Wages and incomes fall as a result of a shortage of work opportunities, but output or production grows. There will be a new price equilibrium level, PL2, at point D. However, if the economic downturn deteriorates even further, wages and salaries will fall even more, from D to E. As shown in the diagram, when the general price level decreases, from PL2 to PL3, and the aggregate supply curve shifts, from SRAS1 to SRAS2, output progressively increases, and returns to its potential level of equilibrium. This figure depicts how an economy naturally recovers from a severe recession, by leveraging both short-run and long-run economic processes. When the general price level reaches its bottom, and output or production returns to their original long-run equilibrium, wage earners begin to demand higher wages, and wages rise from point E, the lowest income point, to point F. As can be seen, the price is moving along the short-run aggregate supply curve, SRAS2, higher than the potential level of output. As previously stated, this is the short-run income or salary increase, as a result of augmented economic activity. When the economy begins to improve, however, there will be a scarcity of skilled workers. As a result, the general price level of wages, salaries, and other items starts going up again, from point F to point G, as the short-run aggregate supply curve shifts to the left, from SRAS2 to SRAS1. At this point, output begins to fall, in order to pay for rising wages and other prices. When labor shortages and inflation continue to rise, as a result of the heated economic boom, the general price level returns to point A, with the left shift of the short-run aggregate supply curve, from SRAS1 to SRAS. This is what monetarist and neoclassical economists call self-readjustment to a long-run equilibrium, in the case of a decline in aggregate demand, in a full circle.